Hello students. So let's start the chapter conservation of plants and animals. And today we will study the effects of deforestation. So here already we have studied a lot of effect of deforestation and different we have discussed. Just a minute. We have discussed different causes of deforestation. And also we have discussed several effects of the deforestation uh, here. Now we will elaborate that thing. Now, how does deforestation affect the economy? Okay. So here you can see that deforestation that facilitates the generation of raw materials for a wide range of industries. Whenever this line I'm just going through this line, one thing I have in my mind, that is the paper mill. And here what happens, the deforestation, if deforestation, that means I am not getting the logs, right? So if I'm not getting the logs and with the pulp of any bamboo, we are not able to do anything else. And this, there are several industry that depends on the forest also. So that deforestation, that raw materials means, suppose one medicinal industry you have. Okay, so you require medicinal plant like eucalyptus, like other plants also. If I will just establish one paper mill, at that time I require that wood also. So here you can see a lot of things that if you want to if you want to establish the paper mill also, here we are making the paper from vegetables fibers. Okay, from vegetables fibers, maybe as wood pulp. Okay, such as wood pulp. Okay, so this industry is dependent on the forest. Medicinal industry, that is also depend on the forest. Now another thing I can have in my mind, that some uh, carpentry also. If someone is living with the use of carpentry, he or she cannot survive without this log. So there are agriculture industry, wood industry. So that means wood industry, that is not possible without wood. Construction industry, for construction of your building. Can you imagine, just you move your head, you can see a lot of woods you have already used in your home. So that thing also, the construction of furnitures also, that will be hampered. So due to the deforestation, the economic depletion of the natural resources also occurs, and also economic influence also. There will be some economic there will be some effect on the economy also, because these things we cannot get. And another thing, do you know that another thing you have, that is the honey culture? And this is also another job. So they will be jobless. So there is some another type of business, or there is some another type of industry we have, that we have honey culture. So this also cannot be possible. So what we are doing, deepest in the forest we have to go, they have to go and honey culture raw honey. And this raw honey you cannot get, this raw honey, that you cannot get, because it is in the deepest of the deepest forest you can have this. So this is also one thing that we cannot get, that uh, get that product also. So this is the natural products we can use, but if there will be no natural things also due to the deforestation, so obviously it will just affect our economy. Okay. Now, over exploitation of wood and timber, that can be a negative impact. Okay, so these logs, you can see that a lot of logs you have, but if you are overusing this, because this log overusing this, because these logs, it are one plant for shal, teak, anything. So you can see that it will take 30 years, 40 years, so you are not producing that much plant also. So how you can use a lot of wood and lot of timber also. The short term economic gains made from deforestation are accompanied by reduced long term productivity. So we have to reduce the use of the huge amount of wood and timber, because they are limited. Now they are not unlimited. Once you have unlimited, but now they are not unlimited. And over enthusiastic timber harvesting from a forest area may increase the overall output temporarily, but the declining the forest area will eventually cause the harvest to decline. So overusing also is a very bad thing, so we should keep in our mind regarding this thing. Next, the overall forest output is greatly reduced because of the climate. Climate is a very important point to grow the forest. Forest, sorry, just a minute. Forest growth. Okay, and here you know that according to some reports, global GDP may see a 7% decline by the year of 2050 due to the deforestation and other factors. And sustainable approach to the usage of the forest resources is ideal for the economy. So climate is a big point where it will affect the forest growth. That means how much product from the forest we can use, that use also should be reduced until unless, because the growth of the forest, it is not like the previous one, not like the 100 years back. So due to the climate or due to other means also, so many problems also, you can forest fires also, you can see that we should be careful regarding the forest growth also. Now, deforestation and human health. So deforestation, so directly and indirectly, it has a it has an effect on the human health also. Since deforestation, that is loss of species, right? So if loss of species, then at that time, first thing, our carbon dioxide, where it will go, from where I can get the oxygen, where I can get the oxygen. That is the main thing. And human health, that means so many diseases also, that is non-curable diseases. And this is also main problem. So 20% of global carbon dioxide emission are caused by deforestation. And trees cool the atmosphere, that it maintains the humidity, so the humidity will not be maintained, so how the health of the human will be good? So trees cool the atmosphere and store the greenhouse gases, and flooding and soil erosion result from deforestation. 1.6 billion people living in poverty depend on forest for their food, fuel, and livelihood. Billions of pollinator bees have lost their habitat, and forests are home to over 70% of the animals, plants, and other organisms. And human encroachment and logging destroys the forest. So, human health, directly or indirectly, that will be hampered due to the deforestation. And we will elaborate this thing. Now, in Malaysia, geographic shift of the fruit bat population. Geographic shift of the fruit bat population facilitated the transmission of the Nipah virus just due to this deforestation. Now, fruit bats, which is known to be vectors of the disease, lost their natural habitat due to the deforestation and started feeding in the orchards or surrounding habitat areas. So, Nipah virus spread from fruits bats to pigs and then to humans. So, these are the consequences. The soil will be ruined, plants and animals will be killed, chemicals from mining poison will poisoning the river, land is spoiled, global warming, fewer trees to take carbon dioxide, medicines and causes of disease lost, tribal people killed by murderer and diseases. So there are so many effects on the human health also. So many effects are there. Now, just a minute. And increased soil erosion that can result the formation of pools of stagnant water. So you can see that soil erosion is also that will affect the human civilization. And these pools serve as breeding grounds of mosquitoes and mosquitoes which are vectors of several deadly diseases such as malaria and yellow fever. So we can be infected by this type of diseases. And some theories also suggest that deforestation has contributed to the propagation of human immunodeficiency virus, that is HIV. So here humans, they are their immunity power becomes less. And also we can have, due to the soil erosion, we can have some pools of stagnant water. And if it's stagnant water, you can see that the mosquito larva will be there. And here you can see that due to the mosquitoes we can have different diseases like malaria, like yellow fever, and also dengue. There are so many diseases this can happen. Also dengue, this can happen. So these are the an immunity system of the human being also that is affected by the deforestation. Now, how can deforestation be controlled? Fine. So all these things we have studied. What are the causes of deforestation? And we have studied the different consequences that we have, different consequences. Just a minute. Different effect or different consequences, different consequences of deforestation. And we have studied also that is effect on the human health. Just a minute. Human health. So many problems we have studied. Now how we can control this. So there are several strategies that can be implemented. One is the security measures. Security measures we have to take. Strict laws we have to apply. Strict laws we have to apply. And deforestation, if we are not doing all this, illegal, we have to stop illegal logging, overusing of all the materials, and increasing the count and the range of forest under the government protection, carefully planning the construction of infrastructure, so road, dams, all these things, so that minimize that loss of forest area. So minimum use of forest area. Minimum use of forest area should be there. Investing in new technology in the agricultural industry so that in a particular land we can get huge number of crops, so that for the land also we are not using that forest area. And the farmers also, they will implement the eco-friendly agriculture. Eco-friendly agriculture. Eco-friendly agriculture. Eco-friendly agriculture. We have to suggest them, and we have to have cyclic agriculture. Cyclic agriculture, we have to push them to use the cyclic agriculture until unless we cannot save our forest. Then optimizing the management of forest by banning the inefficient agriculture practices like slash and burn. This will be banned. This should be banned. And facilitating the production of use of wood alternatives to reduce the demand of timber. So demand of timber that should be reduced. And we should search for any alternative, like we can use plastic, we can use that we can use jute, we can use jute, but little bit, but we have to reduce the timber, the demand of the timber. So bamboo can serve as an alternative wood fuel. So the bamboo can serve as the alternative wood fuel, that is also required. Now launching new reforestation campaigns. Reforestation. If you are cutting one tree, then please, sorry. Reforestation. This is very important. If you are cutting one tree, at least 10 trees should be planted by you. So this campaigning is very much important and it is required. And investing in forest plantation, that is also gives us the success. So, and forest planted with high yielding trees can offer 5 to 10 times the output per hectare of a natural forest. Another thing that we should remember in our mind: reuse, reduce, recycle. We have to recycle whatever the product we are using. We have to reduce our total demand, and we have to reuse. We have to use that type of things which can be reused. Okay, so this thing I will elaborate here. This thing I will elaborate obviously. Now here you can see that what is the role of individuals. Every human in the planet shares the responsibility of preserving the forest as well as preserving any species. I cannot tell that, yes, ma'am, I have not gone there and I have not I have not cut any tree. No, it's your responsibility. Still, you have some responsibility, because every human on the planet, we are sharing the oxygen. We are sharing the we are a part of the ecosystem. So every human being, they have one responsibility of preserving its resources. and other species, their generations, everything. And 3R, this is very important. 3R is very, very important. That is reduce, reuse, and recycle principle. Please, you just keep in your mind that to prevent the deforestation, one thing we can do, that is we can implement the 3R. We can implement the 3R. First thing is reduce. Okay. So reducing the amount of paper consumed by using alternative wherever possible. Okay. So you just reduce the use of paper. Reduce the use of paper. Because for paper we require the wood pulp. And this wood becomes, we have scarcity of the wood. So we should avoid the use of the paper as much as possible. Then reuse, avoid use and throw products to prevent wastage. We have told already plastic is a very dangerous thing. So please do not throw this one. If it can be reused, that means if any plastic bottles, it can be reused. So please you reuse this thing. Recycling. Diligently recycle all used woods and paper products. We can reuse this thing. Individuals can also combat deforestation by spreading awareness about its negative consequences and participating in tree planting campaigns. Now you can see that so many campaigns also has been organized by your schools also, by your from your schools also, and you are going to for this procession, that the tree, and so many dramas also there, so many movies also there to save the tree. So save the tree, and this is also important. That means you can take participate to make understand the people is that there is some negative consequences also. So please do not cut the tree. And their tree planting campaign also, there is only not only in the event of environmental day. I request all of you just took part in the or tree plantation. That is very important, and you just do it yourself. Okay. And also make others comfortable to do that thing. Now, what are the key causes of deforestation? Here, several causes also already we have discussed. One thing we have not discussed, that is the cattle grazing. This is also important. Cattle grazing. This is also important. And forest land is frequently cleared and transformed into agricultural land to just to feed all the crops to the overpopulated human beings. And the four commodities that are majorly responsible for tropical in deforestation, including that palm oil, timber, soy, and beef. And generation of grazing land for cattle is another leading cause of deforestation. So cattle also, the cattle grazing, due to that also deforestation may occur. So deforestation not only occurs by us, also the animals are also may be responsible. Now, what are the environmental effects of deforestation? Now, one negative consequence is that global warming and climate change. And due to global warming, we are suffering a lot. So global warming, this is a warning. This is a warning. Global warming. And over 20% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions can be sourced from the deforestation of tropical rainforest. And I have already told that Amazon rainforest gives us the oxygen, 20% of the total oxygen that we require. So that if Amazon rainforest area will be reduced, that means oxygen will be reduced. Oxygen supply, this is the natural oxygen supply. So at that time we have to take one oxygen cylinder and we have to move here and there. So roots of the trees provide the support to the surrounding soil, and soil erosion, this can be avoided. The soil erosion, this can be avoided if we are just taking care of our forest. Now, how can deforestation affect the water cycle? Here One water cycle, already we know that due to the transpiration, the water, excess water of the tree, that will move to the atmosphere and it will keep the air cool. It will keep the air cool and it will plus the humidity, it will maintain the humidity. That is also important. And here what happens from the trees, they play a vital role in the water cycle for regulating the atmospheric water vapor levels and also by providing the platform for water to enter into the atmosphere from below the ground level. So below the ground level also it will help. Here you can see that transpiration from plants and precipitation, more precipitation will be there. If more precipitation will be there, then what it will do? Here you can see that the groundwater will be increased, groundwater level will be increased. So if groundwater level will water level will be increased, then scarcity of water, there should be no scarcity of water. Okay. Now, how can I, as an individual, help reduce the deforestation? We can do so many things. Paperless work, like we are doing the email, we are doing WhatsApp, we are doing most of the official works. Now we have to, we have just moved to the to use the digital system. So we should be dependent on the digital systems, so that we are digital systems, so that less paper use will be there, and purchasing only recyclable product and recycling them once, and purchasing only certified wood products and supporting the organization that are fighting for deforestation, and educating other individuals about the deforestation, its negative effect, the consequences, the effect on the human health, the effect on our total society, total ecosystem, that need to be understood. Because in our country also so many illiterate persons are there, they even don't know what will be the consequences, and that we have to face. Nobody will face that thing, so we have to face this thing. So we should make understand them, yes, these are the consequences and we will be sufferers, so please don't go for the deforestation. So these are the main points which we require more. Now, how does deforestation affect the biodiversity? Already I have told biodiversity means so many variety and so many species should be there. But if there is a predator, and if I am just killing or due to any other means, suppose one species is unavailable, with that species which is dependent on that species, the lost species, due to the food, how he or how it can survive, they cannot survive. So that there will be also we have told that cross extinction, so there will be some cross extinction also. So that's why the deforestation that also endangers some species, or endangers some species of the microbes, like microbes, some species that who are going for the extinction. And purification of water, don't tell anything regarding this, because we know that the recycling of nutrients and the purification of water, it can be done by the forest also. So that is not possible now. Now, the causes of deforestation, already we have discussed a lot of things. Procuring the land for cultivation, for building, for making furniture, for paper, for natural causes such as forest fire, severe droughts, floods, so many natural calamities are there, and forest fire, this will happen automatically. Drought will be there. So these are the several reasons. Now, consequences of deforestation, as I have told you, that we have to suffer. We have to suffer we have to suffer due to this deforestation. Okay. So deforestation that increases the temperature. So the temperature It will increase. That means global warming. Global warming and pollution level will increase. Global warming and pollution level also increase, and it increases the level of carbon dioxide. It reduces the underground water. It reduces the underground water. It will reduce. So these are the consequences that we have to suffer. We are the sufferer for the deforestation. Temperature will increase. There will be global warming. Pollution level will increase because carbon dioxide is very high amount in our air, and underground water, that is also the level of the underground water that will be very very high. That means the level of the underground water, if I am just digging this much, this is the height, I'm digging this much earlier, now I have to dig this much height. After that, I can get the water. Can you see this thing? So this is the one. These are the consequences of deforestation. Now the droughts, that means it is the lack of water in an area. Now if the due to deforestation, if the water cycle, that will not be perfect. Water cycle, that means again the precipitation should be there, the humidity should be there, there will be no precipitation at that time. How the river or how the other water bodies, they can arrange the water? At that time you can see that there will be drought means the lack of water in an area, and drought can happen due to the lack of rainfall, and this rainfall, that depends on the water cycle. We have, due to the deforestation, we have hampered the water cycle. Now we are suffering lack of rainfall here, and due to lack of rainfall or a small amount of rainfall, drought becomes a very big curse on us. Now, effects of floods and droughts. What are the different effects of floods and droughts? Now, in effects of floods and droughts, water is very basic necessity of human being. Not only human being, rather I would like to say that water, that is required for so many species, and also human being, obviously human being. So this is the most important thing, the water, and this is important to live. This is not the, we cannot reduce the number of quantity of water that we are intaking, right? So insufficient amount of water, that is that is impossible. If we insufficient amount of water, cleaning, cooking, drinking, so many activities we are doing throughout the day, and this, without water we cannot think those activities, so life will turn out to be a miserable chaos. So water cycle has helped in maintaining the quantity of water on surface of earth. Here you can see one thing, uh, the frequency of floods and their increasing effects on human population and the economy, it has been shown in this pie chart. Here, death due to this, due to floods, 58% death, right? And here 31% death here. So you can see that for the earthquake 31%, where 31% for the floods also. So that means these floods, for the floods, the animals, they are also, there is increase in the death of the animals, as well as drinking water. So first thing is that death of animals that occurs, and in scarcity of drinking water. Scarcity of drinking water, we cannot drink the water of the flood. So scarcity of the drinking water, that is also a very big problem issue, and this is due to the deforestation. The flood will come due to the deforestation. In case of drought also, the scarcity of the drinking water will be there, and in due to the drought, some animals will die. So here about 50 liters of water is needed per day per person. 50 liters of water, 50 liters, sorry, 50 liters of water we require per person per day. So how many water we are taking? And so there are many areas where people do not receive any basic water also. So they are suffering from the lack of water, and they are just surviving. They are without sufficient water also, and that's why so many diseases are coming to them, and their immunity system that is already destroyed. And immunity system, this is a very poor immunity system. So heavy rainfall, that heavy marshy soil generally get flooded. So floods, drought, these are temporary concepts, and due to both of these, we are the sufferers. Now the causes and the effects of the floods, that the amount of rainfall received by an area varies from one place to another depending on the location of the place. And in some places, the rain amount is so high that there will be one flood. Another place there is no rain, so there will be some drought also. And here India records most of its rainfall in the monsoon season. So whatever the other season, months and rains are big relief after the hot and sunny days of the summer. And growth of the crops, that for the growth of the crops we require the rainfall. Until unless we cannot do anything. So excess rainfall is disadvantageous in many ways. We will discuss that thing also. Heavy rainfall that rise the water level of rivers, seas and oceans, and water gets accumulated in the coastal areas, and which results the floods. And the floods cause extensive damage to crops, domestic animals, property, human life. And during this flood, many animals get carried away by the force of water, and eventually they will die. So this is the main problem due to the flood. So water level of the rivers will be that rise, and at that time you can see that there will be flood. Heavy rainfall, due to heavy rainfall there may be flood, and due to this flood so many animals they will get carried away, and after all they will die. Sometimes, and it will damage the crops because the water will just enter into the in cultivation land, and also domestic animals, property, human life, everything will be destroyed due to the flood. Now, causes of drought and its effect. If it does not rain for a long time or period, what will happen? At that time, continuously we lose the groundwater. Underground, underground water level, that will be high. That means we have to dig a lot. So water is not brought back to the earth in the form of rains. The soil becomes very dry. So the cause drought over long periods of time. Once arable land is turning into desert. People cutting down trees and shrubs for firewoods and building material. More difficult to produce crops and raise the animals. Herds of animals overgrazing the grasses and shrubs, and here less food and material will get. Starvation, and death can be here. Poor farming methods and misuse of the land, people forced to rely on international aid and relief. So, just a minute. So, the cause, one point you can see here, that starvation and death that may cause due to the that drought, and drought will come because of the deforestation, right? Because of the deforestation. Now, let me take the pointer first. Next, you can see that people forced to rely on international aid and relief, because if you cannot produce like India, it cannot produce the number of the quantity of the crops that is required at that time. Obviously, we are dependent on the other country also. That means at that time importing will be high amount. So importing will be in high amount. That means the importing cost, this cost will become high. Okay, so we have to wait for the international aid and relief. And as you can see, one thing, that whenever the coronavirus that already detected and the vaccines already it has the vaccines also first, that we have taken the aid from international level, and after that we have produced the, we got the formula and we have produced the vaccines, right? So like that, if there will be some drought, and you can see there will be some pandemic situation also. This pandemic situation also, it is due to the, we are the auto immunity system that it is affected due to the deforestation, global warming. So the pandemic situation occurs, and that's why we require more vaccines there. And people are forced to move to one region to another region, obviously, because if there is a desert, and this is due to the drought. Okay, one region becomes desert, and the person, they cannot live in the desert. So what they will do, they will just move from that place, and they will settle down in a place where they can get the crop, they can get the water, because the water is the main necessity. Water is the main necessary thing to live, and without water no one can live. So they will just move themselves from the desert area to the area where they can get the water. Okay, so this much for today. Thank you.